All right. Ladies and gentlemen, fight fans all around the world, we're talking some boxing. I'm what you need. You're watching my channel. And because it is what you need that we try to present to you, you will be the one who actually stimulates the questions. You will be the one who actually sort of generates the discussions. That's what you need. We want to know what you need, right? So any topic is open right now in the sport of boxing. We are live, so we can interface with you as you see fit to ask your questions or to make statements. Doesn't really matter. Whether right or wrong, it is good to express yourself. So in this COVID-19 environment, we invite you to discuss boxing with us and we'll talk some boxing. As you can see from the topic here, we're going to talk about some notable boxers in the sport of boxing who were murdered. Feel free to join in. And this came off of an event that happened in my community where someone was murdered. They weren't a boxer, but they were murdered. And so I just wanted to talk about it because the atmosphere of most of these fighters, a lot of people think that boxers and fighters live lifestyles like what some of us live. But the truth is that a lot of them don't. And actually, a lot of them are involved in a lot of violence outside of boxing, even when they have made it in their careers. A lot of them still get in problems with the law. Some of them actually get in problems with other people. And as a result, they get murdered. Now, domestic violence is a common thing in boxing. A lot of people don't know that, but it's a common thing in boxing. I'm just going to adjust my camera here. There we go. All right. So there's a lot of things that go on in the sport of boxing, and we don't really talk about it too much. And so I just wanted to talk about this topic. Um, I remember a very notable boxer. His name was Alejandro Gonzalez. And just recently, a couple of days ago, an Alejandro Gonzalez actually died. He passed away. I'm not too sure exactly why, but my condolences go out to him and his family. I don't particularly know him or his family. He seemed to have been a very promising boxer. But at this point in time, that's what happened. So I just want to express my condolences to him, to his family. I can't say to him because he's dead, right? So going into what we're going to talk about, Alejandro Gonzalez. Now, Alejandro Gonzalez, the namesake of the guy who passed away, he was a great. For some reason, my stream was interrupted, but he was a great fighter who uh, he was the guy that upset Kevin Kelly to become a world champion at featherweight. He was a featherweight. His son tried to follow his father, and he became a great champion, by the way, beating some former world champions and other people. He's from Mexico, Tijuana, Mexico, and his son, Alejandro Gonzalez Jr., was also a very promising boxer, having knocked it down the Jackal from Ireland. I'm talking about Carl Frampton. He actually knocked him down twice. I believe it was in the first round of their fight. Carl Frampton catching his composure came back later on in the fight. And so his son was also very promising fighter. He hadn't become world champion. And his son was murdered in 2016, along with his father, Alejandro Gonzalez, Alejandro Gonzalez's father, or the son's grandfather. And to see such promising boxers or fighters in the boxing game murdered sparked me to want to look into some other boxers who were murdered. And I was shocked to see that Cory Sanders was actually murdered as well. Cory Sanders was known as the notable guy who knocked down Vladimir Klitschko a number of times, from South Africa, by the way, Cory Sanders was from. Knocked him down a number of times. Southpaw, great straight lefts and left hooks and right hooks. And he took down, Vladimir Klitschko, and I believe he beat him. He beat him. He stopped him and beat him. And Cory Sanders was murdered. Of course, we know of the late, great Arturo Gatti, who was also murdered, but that was a domestic case. And of course, the great Hector Camacho, at the age of 50, gunned down and almost instantaneously killed on the spot. What it led me to realize is that, you know, a lot of these sometimes great fighters, like Hector Camacho was a great fighter, right? So a lot of these fighters, you know, end up um, in certain environments, which kind of bred them as what they are as fighters, and gave them the success. These same environments sometimes take that away from them, or the edge that they used to have that made them edgy was taken away from them. You know, I think of certain fighters who were very violent, domestically speaking. Guys like the great Carlos Monzon, um, who you know, did a lot of heinous things, including, I think he took the life of his wife. He murdered his wife, and then afterwards went into prison. And I don't know if it was that he murdered himself there or someone murdered him, but he died there. And it's just interesting how, you know, some of the exceptional fighters, and but if you really think about it, if you really think about it, exceptional fighters who go in for the kill would have that killer instinct, which, as much as we would like to say that they would switch it off or even clean them up to the public, these guys actually, you know, that's what they do, seek and destroy. So it wouldn't be strange to hear that a boxer was involved in a domestic violence case. You know, Shakur Stevenson, you know, knocked the lights out of a domestic person, right? Sugar Ray Leonard and Sugar Ray Robinson, Floyd Mayweather. We've heard of abuse cases where they beat their wives or beat their significant others, and they're not the only ones. You know, we know about you know, uh, you know, boxers, you know, prominent boxers in the sport of boxing who are involved in rape cases. And, you know, we've heard about this rape case with this guy, we hear Oscar De La Hoya in a rape case, we hear Victor Ortiz was in a rape case. Jack Dempsey used to rape young women, you know, so this kind of stuff we heard before. Whether it's domestic violence cases, Arturo Gatti used to beat his wife. I heard the late what's his name? I'm trying to remember his name right now, but he died prematurely as well. I can't remember his name right now, but a lightweight. He was a really promising lightweight. He had like 100% knockout ratio from Venezuela. You guys know who I may be talking about, so you guys can fill in the blanks on that. But I see that it is a very violent profession to be in the sport of boxing. And it does take a certain mentality to be in the sport of boxing. Never mind what these guys say and how they. Let me just say, make this abundantly clear. A lot of boxers out there, because again, the extent of their career, are not necessarily violent people. All right, I'm not saying that they're violent people and all boxers. I'm just saying that we find that in the sport of boxing, at least in the sport of boxing that we're talking about, that we see these cases. And people always seem to always portray boxers or think of boxers as saints, you know, because they're kind of iconic, they're kind of heroic. And so people want to make images out of them. But you have to understand they're just normal people. I know that Top Rank and other you know, promotional agencies try to portray that boxers as clean cut, clean shaven. It is anything but the truth for a lot of them. Now there are other boxers who really walk that line, and that's the way how they live. But there's a lot of boxers who are not like that. Okay, and that is where I think that the portrayal of a boxer should be based on what they want their image to be, and not so much what the promotional company wants them to be. And I think a lot of times people want to clean up boxing so much so that the population would get back in love with it, that we try to sometimes falsify this by creating this false image of the boxers. The boxers are boxers. That's what they go in the ring to go and do their thing. But let's be honest with ourselves. They're not saints. So why are we trying to make them into saints? They make mistakes, okay? And some of them try to aspire to be better and better as people, and we have to applaud them for that. And those also who end up in problems with the law and stuff, we should have this understanding mind and spirit in the sense that, of course, you got to be penalized for whatever you do in society. But at the same time, understand that these guys didn't come from ideal circumstances necessarily. Some of them have come from ideal homes. Some of them just love to fight, and they ended up in, and they came from relatively balanced homes. Some of them haven't come from your idealistic home. They just haven't. Okay, there are a lot of boxers out there who come from fending for themselves. They had no parents to really rely on. They had parents in word, but not in like as a parent parenting you. They didn't have that kind of life. Okay, and we have a lot of them who have tragedies. They've seen bloodshed all around them. They've seen violence of all kinds. So you know, so it's not like we're talking as if these people who may have come from reputable homes and everything, but still, nonetheless, didn't have an ideal lifestyle or a lifestyle that's anywhere near what we call normal. Okay. And we don't really appreciate that. We don't appreciate that these people, where they came from, some of us, and we try to fit them into our moral code in the sense that they may share the same morals we do, but we are so insensitive to the fact that these guys, they came from or these women came from a background where that wasn't a moral code. There was no moral code, or there was a survival code. That was the moral code. Or there was you know an inner cycle sort of thing. And I'm not saying that for us to pity them or anything like that, but I'm just saying that Hector Camacho, for example, all right, lots of money, lots of money. This man is murdered. Okay, he's shot several times. Why? Why? Is Hector Macho Camacho? Yeah, 50 years old. Why is he shot several times though? And these are the questions I gotta ask you people, because a lot of us out here as boxing fans, some of us appreciate, some of us will appreciate this discussion, some of us will not appreciate this discussion. But the point is, we tend to judge things from one lens, from one perspective. And I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm just saying sometimes you need to widen that lens and view other perspectives on where people come from. I also appreciate what they have been able to do to get themselves to a situation where they could be able to uh, not only appreciate themselves from the situation, but also appreciate their environment and the society in which they live. I always give Danny Jacobs a lot of credit for repping his environment, his community, Brownsville. I think that's one of the best things. And he they had fights in Brownsville. That's giving back. That's inspiring. That's motivating people in Brownsville. Danny Jacobs is not the most perfect man in the world, right? A lot of people feel like no, he's not. He's Christian. I could tell that. He's an upstanding person. I don't expect Andrew Ward to be the greatest person in the world, the most perfect person in the world either. He goes for perfection, but we all make mistakes. My point being, and there are a lot of boxers who are Christians, right? But my point being anyway is that when you look at what Andrew Ward had to overcome, that what made him what he is. But you have to look at also the lens through which his world is completely different to the lens through which some of you fans' world is. And then again, he may have a similar lens to a lot of you fans out there also. So it's not like it's only one set of people. But I put this forward to a lot of people because I feel like a lot of times, I'm talking from my feelings now. I feel like a lot of times people do not appreciate how much these people have overcome, and also not just overcome, but also the mindset that they have, which is what made them so successful. And we overlook that. We always look at the skill sets. We always look at the their abilities, whether it's power or God given abilities like their power or their strength or whatever, their athleticism, whatever. And we miss out on the fact that these people are success stories, that they're huge success stories, and they can carry us, even so, by us being inspired by their success stories, to the next level of what we need to do. Because a lot of us stay at one level for the rest of our lives. We're stuck at one level for the rest of our lives. We never get past that level and go to something else. These people have stepped up levels, which means they're able to capable of moving up and up in levels mentally. And that's the thing about boxing that I love about it. The physical aspects are awesome, but the mental aspects are just so much more to me. I'm a mental person anyway. So the mental aspects of boxing remind me of the mental aspects of a soldier going to war. It's a similar sort of mindset. And you have to have the discipline. You have to have that commitment. You have to have that dedication. And when you go to war, you may just make it out of that war. Because usually, unlike sports where the end result of a war is some sort of result, war don't really have no end result. You know what I mean? It don't really have. It just continues on and on and on. Even when you're finished fighting the battles, now you have another new set of challenges and battles to face. And I think that that's the mindset that is needed to go to war is a totally completely different mindset to a civilian mindset to start with, and then because you're going to destroy something. Okay, you're not going to build nothing. Okay, you're going there to destroy. Okay, seek and destroy. That's the mindset going to war. Okay, a civilian's not thinking anything like that. Okay, you're not getting up in the morning thinking I'm going to annihilate. What's the plan to annihilate this area or whatever? You're not thinking like that, right? And so similarly, a boxer's mindset, especially as he's approaching that day to take out his opponent, is he's going to war. It's a different sort of mindset to um and we're talking sometimes months just fostering that. And just imagine you're stuck in that mindset of go to war. That's why training camps, it's kind of cool to have your family in training camp, but I wouldn't advise anybody to just have their family sitting down in their training camp. Because yes, I know you need to kind of deprogram, decompress, detach. You need something else to, but when you really get into that war zone mentality, that mentality where you're now kind of locked into your opponent and locked into what you need to do, no matter what anybody says, it's different. You're in a different sort of zone. And you know what's interesting is how seeing these boxers take interviews. I remember Terrence Crawford was like tired of taking interviews. I remember Errol Spence saying the same thing. Errol Spence was watching them like, oh, listen, man, I'm tired of talking about interviews because for months, weeks, he's just been killing it. Focus not necessarily on what his opponent's going to do. He's focused on what he has to do. But the point is, he's focused on going into battle. He's going in there to throw hands. He's going in there to move around and try and disable and destroy his opponent. That's what he's going in there to do. And here we are conducting interviews. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? That's not necessarily, so um, the mindset of a boxer, I don't care what kind of boxer you are, your mindset is that when you zone in to what it is, the task at hand. Because similarly, in war, you're not seeing your opponent, you're not seeing your opposition. They're like a little blip on the screen or something. You're just seeing firepower. You don't know anybody personally, all right? So it's more of, let me focus on where I need to fire at. Let me focus on taking out this thing because this is my objective. That's the way how it's very surgical and logistical. That's what you're doing. Now, for guys like Roy Jones Jr., they want to put on a performance. It's not just about dominating the opponent, but making it look good. So then, there were different kinds of approaches to the game. But the point is that the mindset going into a fight with an opponent is to win. Yes, absolutely, 100%. But it's also you're going against something or someone. So it's an opposing thing. It's a different sort of mindset to go in there thinking like that, right? No matter what you think of the person before, going into war against them, you're not thinking like that. You're thinking literally, you're thinking very much harm and hurt towards that person. You're not thinking anything positive whatsoever towards that person. So it's not surprising to me that boxers in boxing, you know, have that violence to them. It's a violent sport, right? Um, so I wanted to talk about that. The boxers who have been murdered. Now, whatever else you guys want to talk about, just leave it in the comment section. Or we're live. We're live, live, live. I want to leave this little section here for you guys. It's almost 21 minutes. It's 21 minutes into the video, so I'm gonna cut short my video right here. You guys enjoy the rest of your day, but I'm gonna go do another video. So stay tuned. Watch out for that one. Another video I'll put up sometime today, hopefully. Um, but I wanted to discuss that because I've seen a lot of murders of boxers. I didn't know. I looked into it and I didn't realize that there are a number of boxers who have been murdered. Of course, we know Vernon Forrest was murdered as well. That's another boxer that was murdered. And, all of these boxers that I'm talking about, um, phenomenal, phenomenal boxers. And some of them are phenomenal people, really kind, really nice, phenomenal people, even though they were boxers. And that's the thing that a lot of people don't realize is, like guys like Mike Tyson, for example. Mike Tyson, phenomenal person. He's not, you know, a lot of people think that Mike Tyson is a violent person. No, he's not really. He, he's a very smart guy who can see what you're saying, see where you're coming from, and he don't like certain things when people behave certain ways. Thinking that misjudging his intelligence, or just sneak insulting him. And so he takes it personally, and you can see he's a reflective person as well. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that because you're a reflective person and you're thinking about what you do and you're very reflective on things, that it would mean that you're a punk or something. People can take advantage of you, and so that's what I got to say about that. All right, man. That's it for me for now. Um, if you guys got anything to say, don't forget you can always post it up here. Leave your comments in the comment section below. I forgot that you can also donate to this channel via Western Union MoneyGram uh, anytime you want to. And what you need is out here, man. We're gonna put up a couple more videos today, hopefully, on different topics in boxing. I do want to talk about the Glovegate controversy that still continues to rage onwards. Uh, Blue Blood Sports TV did an excellent job, an excellent piece, about two excellent pieces that really caught my interest. And um, several other interviews. We saw Amir Khan, I think it was Fight Hub or Fight Hype. I think it was Fight Hype. Interviewed Amir Khan. And Amir Khan validated something that the owner and the owner and um, and producer of uh, and maker as well of rival boxing gloves basically said they had similar sentiments to that. So I want to talk about that. And again, I only talk on credible things. I don't talk on things which are not credible. So what you need, man, if you guys like this channel, don't forget you can share the content, like, subscribe, uh, comment, donate via Western Union MoneyGram. I'm gonna catch you guys later on the next one. Peace.